Today I'll be building a Bestar queen wall bed, Murphy bed. So the first thing I've done is organized all of the hardware and labeled it. This is kind of a tedious step, but it'll save you a lot of time as you go to have these parts labeled. Before you get started, you'll also want to think about what wall your bed is going to go on. This one is actually pretty close to the ceiling fan. This wall, there's a lot bigger distance between the wall and the fan. So this is going to be our candidate wall to put the bed on. You want as much clearance from your fan as possible. Step 1 shows assembling parts 81, 87, and 41. So first we're going to put 81 and 41 together. The instructions also recommend using a screwdriver. I'm going to use a power drill to go a little faster, but be very careful you don't over tighten things because you can crack or split the wood. So here I've placed piece 81 on top of 41, and you'll want to find the side of 81 that's finished, that's this side, and put it toward the side with holes. If you notice, there are 5 holes straight down this side of the board, so that's where this one's going to attach. So I found the correct screws for this, and you're supposed to insert them from beneath the board. These holes are big enough that you can just pop them in. You don't have to screw them in to the bottom board. Line up the top board, find where the hole is, pre-drilled on the back side, and once you got it lined up, use the screwdriver from the back side to attach them together. I'm only going to go about halfway in on this board, or on this screw, until I get all the screws into place, and then I'll tighten them all the way down. Alright, I have all 5 screws in about halfway, so I'll tighten them down the rest of the way. This next one stumped me for quite a while. The 2 pieces, there's this one and another bolt that fits into it. So the sleeve part is supposed to go into these pre-drilled holes, and the bolt will attach a bracket to the other side. But the sleeve is actually too big to fit into the pre-drilled holes. It's, I guess, exactly the same size as the hole, but it just won't fit in there by hand. So I've got a hammer, and just really gently I've tapped it in. It took a while, but I got it to fit into place. So I'm going to tap all 6 of these in first. Alright, hammered in all 6 of these, and the other 6 will go into the back of your first board. So flip it over and hammer in the other 6 into these 6 holes. The next thing is to attach the bracket to your first board. So we'll take a bracket and first just loosely get these screws or bolts set into the sleeves. Use a screwdriver to help me just get them lined up really quick. I'll quickly set all 6. Now that they're all set, again, I don't want to over tighten them, so I'll just use a screwdriver to get these the rest of the way in. Now we'll flip the original board back over. And finish attaching. We'll do all 6 of these. First piece is done. Here it is standing up. Next up are 30 and 31. My piece 31 was missing a sticker, but it looks just like 30, and they're probably the 2 biggest, heaviest boards in the kit. In this step, we'll be mounting these corner brackets onto the top of them. So lay them with the side with the 3 holes in the corner facing up. You'll line up your angle bracket on the end that has the straight holes. And I would line up first these 2 circles that have the smallest opening. And you'll lock those down with the included Allen wrench. I'll tighten all of these down and then come back around one more time and tighten them again. Once you get all these bolts tightened down, grab a couple of the adjustable feet and you'll tap those into the bottom with a hammer. You may want to have a standby Allen wrench ready, because by the time I finish the second one it stripped the Allen wrench. So it slips out, I can't even tighten it anymore. So having another one handy probably wouldn't be a bad idea. Once you've finished both of these pieces and got all 4 feet on, it's time to build the box. Alright, so here's the next page. We're taking the piece we assembled first, the 2 big sides, and adding a middle piece and a bottom piece. On the back side of piece 70, insert a couple of the wooden pegs. I'm going to tap them with a hammer a little bit, just to make sure they're all the way in. For the next step, getting all these pieces attached together, it will be very useful to have a second person to help you hold the pieces in place as you attach them. My kit, apparently I got sent 2 of piece 70, and I'm missing a 40. I guess I'm gonna have to call and get a replacement part before I can move on. For the bottom piece here, it has a little inset picture that says holes down. That just means holes against the floor, but toward the inside. You'll have the finished edge facing the inside of the frame. To attach part 40 across the bottom, put these 2 wooden pegs in the side of part 40, and then that will insert into these 2 center holes. The outside holes you'll drill from the outside. So I put 2 wood pegs into the end of side 40, and you'll fit those into the center holes on the side. Then from the outside, you'll screw into these 2 holes. Same thing goes for connecting the top part. Put the wooden pegs in the middle. And then the screws will come through the outside into the outside holes. Again, tap these wooden pegs in with a hammer before trying to slide the pieces together. Piece 83 that goes across the middle just has 2 pegs in either side, so you'll need to put this one in before you completely attach the top so that you can have room to wiggle it in there. Put the varnished side facing toward the top, the unfinished side facing toward the bottom. When you get both sides lined up, just snap it into place by giving the outside a pop.
Add the green pegs into this board before you attach it to the side pieces.
Once you have the box assembled, you're ready to attach it to the studs in the wall. Notice the green pegs are on the unfinished side there.
Use a stud finder to find and mark the studs. Once you have the studs marked, use a tape measure to mark the appropriate height from the floor at those studs.
That was the step where 3 people come in handy to stand it up against the wall. You can see we marked the stud just below the wood piece there. So this is ready to be anchored. This piece looks like a shelf in the middle. And these holes for the cams are facing the front edge. The manual doesn't specify what kind of wood anchors to use because they don't know what kind of wall you have, but for regular studs, wooden studs, our hardware store recommended these 3.5-inch wood screws.
Once you have that screwed in, make sure it's secure.
With piece 70, you'll line it up with these holes, with the holes in piece 70 facing the top. Take the cams and find the open side and face that toward the front. So you'll be able to insert the screw head into the cam. And just pop those in. And then put these 4 into the holes and then lift up the board and line up the cams with the pegs. Can you kind of give it a tap? So the green pieces will go underneath board 40. Tighten, tighten. Next you'll bring in the bases, lay them down with the bolts where the corner will be. So for this step I would attach the 2 slatted pieces together first and then the metal pieces that go across the ends of them. Alright, so insert the bolt across, use the hex key to tighten it up. To get the bolt all the way in, it will push a sticker off the back side. So you'll raise this metal thing up and set it on the little ledges and then attach. Next step is to attach the leg to the end. You'll remove one of the washers and the bolt and slide it in and then add the washer and the bolt back on. Take the bolt out of the end of this rod and then line it up. If these pieces have fallen off your piston, just twist them back on. And then you'll find the side that's longer and attach that and attach the piston to it. We'll still have some wiggle room, that's okay. So we've flipped the board over. This peg will rest on this bolt and the spinners will rest in this groove here. So to get the mattress guard in, put the feet down and then stand it up. And you'll take the curvy piece, line it up, and attach bolts to it. Probably want to use needle nose pliers, or just pliers, and a screwdriver to tighten the bolts. So the bottom side of the piston has this cap. Get rid of it.
So the pistons we got were locked for shipping, and you were supposed to push down like this to unlock them, but obviously it didn't do anything. So they recommended sticking some cardboard under it and pushing at an angle. That also did nothing. I ended up contacting the manufacturer, and they sent us some new pistons that worked the way they were supposed to. So you may have to do that if yours don't unlock.
Assemble the panel. And part 60. 2 of the trims and 2 of the long trims. Find the side that has the little holes in the corners. Put that facing up. And then we'll attach these underneath.
Attach a bracket to this side and also another one about a third of the way from the other end using the short screws. You'll also attach a bracket to the other side of the panel. Once those are drilled down, stick a screw in this middle hole so that you can tilt it up and attach the round hardware to the front. For this next step, we're going to be hanging the panels on to the back of the bars of the bed frame. So it says to look at this other page for details. You can see you hang those brackets on top of that bar. Once it's hooked on that bottom bar and the one on the top, you can hang it in place and slide it over to the edge. 2 panels in place, and then getting the third one in, make sure it's flush with the others. Next, assemble the top panel basically the same way as the others. You'll lay this down on top and screw it in to the trim. The back of this panel will have the holes for the brackets. The black brackets will go in the middle of the panel, and the silver ones will hang over the edge on the bottom. Once all your brackets are mounted on the back side, put the screws in the holes for the handle and attach the handle on the front. Stick some cardboard in the top corner to help pull the frame forward as you hang the brackets behind the bar, and then also slide the silver brackets behind the other panels. Looking good. Just got to get it screwed in place now. You'll need to pop the slat out of place to be able to reach the bracket.
Just remember, just yank. Don't.
You may need to loosen the screws from before so that you can line up all 4 holes of the bracket. Once the bracket's attached, snap the crossbars back into place. The next step is to attach long screws into these holes that are all around the edge of the frame to secure them to the wood panels. cam screws into the top trim board, and then you'll add the cams onto the top of the top board.
And then take the screwdriver
Yeah.
to tighten them. Could you hold these two up at an angle?
Then you can attach the angled brackets to the corners of the molding.